The top stories for the hour. Ethiopia is still uncertain as to when to conduct foreign international census as the world's population reaches 8 billion. And the Iranian president embarks on a rare trip to Africa. Hello and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching at this news hour with Zanusa and Biniam Gatana. Thank you for joining us. Now the news in full. Do stay tuned. The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies urged states to provide humanitarian assistance to the needy in Ethiopia. Talking to ETV English, Under Secretary General of National Development and Operation Coordinator with ICRC, Javier Konstantinos also appreciated Ethiopia's role in hosting refugees. Habtam Washagre has compiled the full story. Have a look.
The International Red Cross and Red Crescent Society expressed commitment to extend humanitarian support to the needy in Ethiopia. Talking to ETV English, Javier Castellanos, the Under-Secretary General of National Development and Operation with the IFRS, said the Red Cross Society in Ethiopia is undertaking exemplary humanitarian assistance to vulnerable communities in Ethiopia.
Our organizations, what we try to do is put a little bit of support through the Ethiopian Red Cross Society in order to alleviate human suffering. And that's where we are trying to focus attention, but also ensuring that our actions are contributing to the resilience in Ethiopia.
The coordinator further appreciated Ethiopia's commitment as well as willingness to host and manage refugees entering into Ethiopia. Castellanos underlined that the local and federal government, in coordination with the Ethiopian Red Cross Society, is extending their support to needy segments in Ethiopia.
What I have seen is and observed is the willingness to host refugees, the conditions to offer the basic needs for refugees. I have had the opportunity to discuss with the highest authority in Ethiopia, with your president, who has shared her passion to ensure that every single individual in your country be treated with care and respect. We see your local governments doing an amazing job in trying to facilitate the work. We have seen an extraordinary work of the Ethiopian Red Cross societies, but particularly we see the host communities, to be willing to support and to contribute to those people that were in need to enter to the country due to the conflict.
In terms of financial support declining from international institutions, Castellanos highlighted solidifying institutional coordination is crucial to respond on humanitarian crisis.
Our contribution is minimal to the magnitude of the needs, but I believe are extremely important. We will soon launch a rehabilitation and recovery appeal to the international community, and probably will be around the 50 million Swiss francs to start with, and to look how we can support. But when we look at one, in terms of the needs, this could be seen as a drop in the ocean. But what we see is that this is the moment where we need humanitarian community and development community together in order to help the prosperity in the country.
Following the worsening conflict in Sudan, over 75,700 refugees have crossed borders and entered Ethiopia. The fact is that the number of refugees from the war-torn Sudan continues to swell, further complicates the IFRC's humanitarian efforts in Ethiopia, said the coordinator.
That was Habtam Washagre for the report. As the news continues, the Ministry of Defense is celebrating the annual Dalol Central Command festivity and Recognition Award ceremony in Jimma town. Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Field Marshal Birhanu Jula, and his Deputy General Ababaw Taddese attended the ceremony. The festival is being celebrated under the theme, Let's Brace Up for Modernization and Victory. Members of the Army who have achieved outstanding performance in upholding the rule of law were presented with awards. Meanwhile, Africa is the most vulnerable continent when it comes to the number of road fatalities and road injuries. Talking to ETV English program, UN Secretary General, the Special Envoy for Road Safety Jan Todd, who is in an official visit to Ethiopia and other East African countries, said that the road safety needs to be the top agenda of every government to reduce the number of accidents. Shagawai Matau has a full story.
Every year, 1.35 million people die on the roads over the world, between 30 to 50 million people injured with disability. Africa is the most vulnerable continent which is affected by the number of road fatalities and road injuries. Ethiopia is no exception to this problem. Talking to ETV, UN Secretary General's Special Envoy for Road Safety, Jan Todd, who is on official visit to Ethiopia and other East African countries, said quality of vehicles, quality of roads, speeding and texting are among the major causes of road accident in Ethiopia.
It's around education, law enforcement, quality of the vehicles, quality of the road, and quality of the post-crash care. Simple things in Ethiopia would divide by 2 the number of victims, like buckling the safety belt in the front or in the rear, wearing one proper ventilated UN standard helmets, which you can buy for below $20. Speeding, drink and drug driving, texting would definitely be the first measure to take.
The Special Envoy for Road Safety indicated that 90% of failures of road accidents occur in African, some Asian and Latin American low and middle income countries. He also pointed out that all stakes involved in addressing the road accident, like governments, private sectors and organizations, must put road safety on top of the agenda in their discussions.
We need to discuss, to work with those governments, with the private sector, with all the organizations involved in addressing this pandemic, to make sure that road safety is not a forgotten issue. You know, it's a silent pandemic. We speak about other very important topics like climate change, but we don't speak enough about road safety. So we need to put road safety on the top of the agenda of every government.
The Special Envoy further explained that the UN is active to work with governments on road safety by distributing fundings for special activities of road safety. As to him, organizations like World Bank, World Health Organizations and others are very much involved to support reduce road accident, adding road safety is not only the matter of government, but it is the matter of passengers and drivers.
You need to unify the effort. You need to put everybody, every single citizen in the world is a road user, as a pedestrian, cyclist, motorcyclist, car driver, car passengers, public transportation. So it's not only the matter of the government, not only a matter of global organization like United Nations, it's a matter of everybody.
Welcome back. You're still watching at this news hour. Now step into another development. The world's population has exceeded more than 3 times larger than it was in the mid-20th century. The global human population reached 8 billion in the mid-November 2022 from an estimated 2.5 billion people in 1950, adding 1 billion people since 2010 and 2 billion since 1918. Tegis Nessa takes us to the speed.
Ethiopia, in its modern history, conducted some 3 national censuses. The first census was conducted back in 1984 during the military regime. Back then, the census was only 81% of the population of the country due to peace and security issues at that time, and the total number of population was said to be around 46 million people. Ethiopia rolled up its sleeves for yet another census in 1994 and 2007, with the total population of the country was 53.5 million and 75 million respectively.
I take it as quite a measure of strength that the first census was conducted when the technological advancement left so much to be desired. Also, trained manpower was far from abundant. Things were much better 10 years later when the census managed to cover nearly 98% of the population. By then, technology advanced to a sufficient degree. The third such undertaking saw a much more enabling environment.
But the second most populous nation in Africa is facing a tough battle when it comes to getting anywhere with the fourth census. For years, since 2015, the country was rocked by internal challenges that hindered the next census to be conducted as per planned. This is against the current constitution dictating census to be conducted every 10 years. The global human population reached 8 billion in mid-November 2022 from an estimated 2.5 billion people in 1950, adding 1 billion people since 2010 and 2 billion since 1998. The world's population is expected to increase by nearly 2 billion persons in the next 30 years, for the current 8 billion to 9.7 billion in 2050 and could peak at nearly 10.4 billion in the mid-2080s. This dramatic growth has been driven by increasing number of people surviving reproductive age, the gradual increase in human lifespan, increasing urbanization, and accelerating migration. Major changes in fertility rate have accompanied this growth. These trends will have far-reaching implications for generations to come. The global population milestone of 8 billion represents nearly 7% of the total number of people who have ever lived on Earth. Calculating the number of people who have ever lived is part science and part art. No demographic data exists for more than 99% of the span of human existence. Still, with some assumptions about population size throughout human history, we can get a rough idea of this number. About 117 billion members of our species have ever been born on Earth.
And finally, the Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi embarks this Tuesday on a rare tour of Africa in an effort to reduce the Islamic Republic's isolation by forging new alliance. The 3-day trip to Africa is the first by an Iranian president in 11 years. President Ibrahim is to visit Kenya, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. Last Saturday, Raisi welcomed Algerian Foreign Minister Ahmed Itaf in a bid to boost relations with Algiers. In March, Iran and regional rival Saudi Arabia agreed to restore ties under a chain of mediated deals. Likewise, last Wednesday, President Raisi also visited Latin America before heading to Indonesia. And now a quick reminder of the top stories once again. Ethiopia is still uncertain as to when to conduct 4 international censuses as world's population reached 8 billion. And Iranian president embarks on a rare trip to Africa. Well, that's what we have for today. Thank you for watching us. This is Addis News Hour. I'm Binyam Getana. Goodbye and have a lovely time.